Hello, how are you? Today I'm going to talk to you about that urge to urinate, about having to go to the bathroom to pee all the time. There are people who really seem to have to go to the bathroom all the time. When they go out, they're worried about whether there will be a place to pee, to take care of their needs. And they keep wondering why they feel the urge to urinate all the time, why this happens, and what can be done to try to improve this situation. What could this be? I'm going to tell you right now. Stay with me until the end. You won't want to miss it. If you love tips on nutrition, health, and fitness, you're going to love this channel. So go ahead and subscribe, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell to get updates. I have new videos every day. You're going to love them. So let's start talking more about this urge to urinate, to pee, which is constant for some people. If you enjoy these videos where I talk more about health conditions, how your diet and lifestyle are related to them, and how you can try to improve, give it a like, and I'll come back and make more videos like this for you. And tell me, are you someone who has to pee all the time or not? How many times do you urinate per day? Is it all the time? Every half hour? Are there longer intervals? How does it work for you? Let's start talking about the main causes behind this urge to go to the bathroom and pee all the time. The first cause, which is very common, is excessive caffeine consumption. What many people don't realize is that caffeine acts as a natural diuretic and that it stimulates the production and excretion of urine. So, many people don't even drink much water, but they have several coffees throughout the day, drink cola sodas with caffeine, drink teas that contain caffeine, or are diuretic teas, which have the same effect. So, even though they don't drink a lot of liquids or much water, they still feel the urge to pee all the time. If that's your case, try reducing your caffeine intake. Remember that there are some coffee substitutes you can add to your daily routine. I have a video where I talk more about a great coffee substitute, and I'll leave it down below in the description for you. Another related condition could be elevated blood sugar. This can happen to people who already have diabetes and are not managing it well, to those with prediabetes, or to anyone with some metabolic syndrome or insulin resistance. When the sugar in our blood is above the recommended normal levels, our body looks for ways to lower this blood sugar, because if it gets too high, it becomes toxic to our system. So, one of the ways to do this is through urine, stimulating the excretion of glucose in the urine itself, making you urinate more often and more frequently in order to achieve this result, to lower your blood sugar. You'll notice, in fact, that people with high blood sugar have a large volume of urine. It's not just the urge to urinate, but they actually produce a lot of urine. The volume is very large. Remember that in order to regulate your blood sugar, you'll need to make several changes to your lifestyle and your diet. I have a playlist here on the channel that talks all about diabetes, where I discuss high blood sugar and also prediabetes in more detail. I'll leave it down below. There are lots of great tips on diet, meal plans, advice, and I also have playlists with recipes to help control blood sugar, which I'll also leave in the description below for you. Another thing that is often related to this urge to urinate several times a day, very frequently, is stress or anxiety. We already know that people, when they are nervous, stressed, or anxious, feel a greater urge to urinate. In fact, it is very common that when you get startled, when you are worried or nervous, you immediately feel the urge to urinate, which is related to that feeling of fear, stress, or anxiety. That's why people who are more anxious and nervous tend to urinate more frequently throughout the day. It's also very important to try to manage anxiety and stress. Of course, for some people, it may be necessary to seek help from a psychologist or psychiatrist, to undergo therapy, or even to take medication as well. But remember that I also have a playlist here on the channel with lots of tips, juices, teas, and recipes that can help you naturally reduce anxiety. I'll leave that down below in the description for you. The decrease in estrogen can also be related to the urge to urinate more frequently and often during the night as well. That's why women who are in perimenopause or menopause who naturally experience a decrease in estrogen report that they start to feel a strong urge to pee, to urinate frequently. So this is an issue that also needs to be monitored by a gynecologist to see what they can do to help you get through this period. Remember that I have a video here where I talk more about menopause and nutrition, how to reduce hot flashes and discomfort, and I also have a video about hormone replacement therapy, which I'll leave linked below in the description for you as well. Another problem that affects many people is also the pelvic floor muscle, which is the base part of the pelvic floor, the floor of the pelvis, so to speak, which tends to be weaker. This happens much more often in women, especially in women who have had vaginal deliveries, often due to a muscular issue related to the strength of this muscle, which becomes looser, more flaccid, and it becomes harder to control the urge to urinate, to hold the bladder and all the internal structures there. So if you already know that you have an issue related to the pelvic floor, it's very important that you have follow-up with a gynecologist and a physical therapist who can help you with exercises to strengthen this musculature and improve this problem. In the case of men, changes in the prostate can also lead to the urge to urinate more frequently, and in the case of benign prostatic hyperplasia, this may be related to urinating more often, but without a large volume of urine. Because as the prostate becomes enlarged, compressing the bladder and the urethra, it creates that sense of urgency to urinate, but when the person actually goes to urinate, only a few drops come out. So, this can be a sign of some prostate alteration, whether benign or not, and it also requires investigation by your urologist. It's also important to point out that some medications can make you urinate more. There are some medications that are specifically for this purpose, such as diuretics. For example, people who are being monitored for high blood pressure take diuretic medications to lower their blood pressure by eliminating fluid through urine, which helps compensate and reduce the pressure. But there are also many other types of medications that do not specifically have this particular purpose, yet they still possess a significant diuretic side effect. So, if you recently started taking a medication and you begin to urinate more frequently, it's important that you talk to the doctor who prescribed it to check if the dosage is correct, or if there is another alternative that serves the same purpose but without this side effect to help you. Another issue that is also closely related to the frequent urge to urinate is urinary tract infection. It ends up being one of the main causes. When we talk about someone who really needs to pee a lot, we always think of a urinary tract infection. And just like common prostate problems often experienced by men, a urinary tract infection frequently makes you feel a strong, persistent urge to pee, but you don't actually produce much urine at all. Sometimes the urge is so strong, the inflammation caused by the infection is so intense that you become hypersensitive and feel the need to urinate very frequently, and sometimes only a few drops come out. Urinary tract infections can affect both men and women, and you need to be extra careful because it can quickly develop into a more serious problem. This infection can travel up to the kidneys, enter the bloodstream, and can even lead to sepsis, which can be fatal. So, a urinary tract infection is very serious. It's extremely important that if, along with the urge to urinate, you also feel a burning sensation when urinating, and sometimes even notice blood in your urine. If you are experiencing any other type of discomfort, fever, cramps, pelvic or abdominal pain, it is very important that you see a doctor as soon as possible to start medication. As I mentioned, it can be dangerous for you. Last but not least, it's worth mentioning that the more water you drink, the more often you'll feel the urge to urinate. So, if you're someone who drinks a lot of water throughout the day and urinates, but when you feel the urge to go, the amount of liquid that comes out matches that urge, your bladder is actually full, then you're emptying a bladder that was already full from the liquid you consumed. If your urine is clear, has no odor, doesn't burn, and you don't feel any discomfort, this increased urge to urinate may be related to excessive water intake, which in this case is not a problem at all. Remember that this video is for informational purposes only, and there may be other health issues associated with frequent urges to urinate. I've mentioned a few here, but of course there could be others, and obviously the purpose of this video is not to diagnose anything. To know whether what you're experiencing is something physiological, like drinking a lot of water, which will make you want to urinate, or if it's related to some pathology or health condition, it's important that you consult your doctor in your city to determine the root of your problem and help you with treatment. So, tell me down below, once again, if you tend to urinate a lot throughout the day. I'd love to see your comment. Like the video, as that really helps me, and share it with anyone who would enjoy it or needs it. Let's work together to grow this chain of good, because that's what I want here on the channel. See you next time. Bye.